It's my greatest honor to be here, and I'd like to thank the TEDx Academy organizers for this wonderful event and for the invitation to be able for me to share my thoughts with you, which I am obviously going to be doing in English. I wouldn't want to subject you to my Greek, and trust me, you wouldn't want to be subjected to my Greek either. So, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about Greece, digital, and transformation. I work in market research, so I am going to show you data. I'm going to show you market research data that we have. And one of the sources I'm going to use is our Digital Life Survey, which we've conducted in over 40 countries around the world, including Greece, and that helps us compare. And one of the reasons I'm going to show you, if not the main reason I'm going to show you this data regarding the internet and Greece, is because I want us to get past the conversation that, well, yeah, but in Greece, digitally, we're not there. Because that's the equivalent of having a conversation about whether gravity applies to us or not. Gravity applies to us, and digitally, we are there. The sad part of that is that in the business world, we have been painfully late in taking advantage of this opportunity, but that's a different presentation, and that's not what I'm going to really focus on today. What I want to do is we're going to look at what we do on digital, but I think what's really important to understand is why we are doing what we are doing on the internet, because that's going to shine a lot of light on the opportunity we have to transform ourselves. So, to start with, we'll talk a little bit about trust. It was a hot item earlier, but we have some research data regarding trust, because I think it's an important place to start when the social fabric of our country is being ripped apart. What institutions do we tend to trust, and which do we not tend to trust? We asked a representative sample of Greece nationally, aged 15 and over, to answer for these 19 institutions which if they tend to trust or if they tend to not trust each one. They are in descending order. The numbers in the parentheses, the percentage, is of the answers they tend to trust. Now, there's a lot here. We could talk about this for hours, but I'm just going to focus on what's relevant to my talk today. First of all, there's only one institution that has a majority of tend to trust. Only one, which indicates that in this country, we are suffering from a lack of trust. And if you think that trust has been declining, well, it's not your imagination, because it has been declining. Over the past year, for all these institutions, trust has gone down in Greece, with the exception of radio that remained flat, and internet and the UN that have gone up. But more importantly, the internet has gone up the most, from 35% last year to 41% trust. Now, to be fair to the internet, which I happen to love, is that in this research, there are people way over 55 years old, and they do represent 30% of the Greek population. They not only don't use the internet, they probably don't even know what it is. So to understand really among users, among those or people who know what the internet is, how much they trust it, we had some really surprising news. The Army has been knocked off its pedestal as the most trusted institution among the internet core users, who are the 15 to 44-year-olds, which I will show you in a second that they are, so trust me. And we've seen that the internet now is, among the 15 to 44-year-olds, the most trusted institutions. This is very important. Now, moving on to what are we doing online? How do we live online? First off, internet penetration and use in Greece is at 55% of this is from, again, a nationally representative sample of people aged 15 and over, so it does include rural areas. What we have in Greece is what's known elsewhere and here as the digital divide. We have very high penetration in the 15 to 44-year-olds, like I told you. It declines the 45 to 54 and completely drops off the map for the 55 plus. You can see them way down at the bottom there with 11%. So basically, what we're going to have to wait for in Greece is the generation to pass for internet penetration and use to grow in the older age groups. So looking at the population of internet users, it's a young, dynamic, active part of our society are all on the internet, and they count for 8 out of 10 internet users. How much time do we spend online? Well, in Greece, we spend 20 hours per week online, which is 1 hour above the global average. Once we are an internet user, we go online once a week, we go online 5 days a week, and the majority, 6 out of 10 of us, go online at least 1 time per day. This is completely in line with global averages. What's interesting in Greece is that digital has become our primary media channel once it's adopted. So 6 out of 10 go online at least once per day, whereas 4 out of 10 will listen to the radio and or TV, and it drops off significantly for newspaper and magazine. And our daily activity online, we're doing everything under the sun. Underneath there, those numbers are the global averages. So you can see how across all these different activities, with the exception of shopping and online administration, which is essentially e-banking and paying bills online, we are ahead of global averages significantly. In social media over there, with 6 out of 10 of us are active in social media daily, and that's where we spend most of our time. We spend over 7 hours per week on social media. And on social media, we are very well connected. We have 198 on average connections, which is 65% more than the global average. And among the up to 20-year-olds, that number skyrockets to 440. And we're just not connected. We're a chatty bunch. 44% of us talk either negatively or positively about brands. And that 32 in parentheses is the global average. And 40% of us actively seek out to read what is said about brands online versus a global average of 36. So what's all this telling us? All this is telling us that what people are doing on the internet in Greece and in other countries simply is forcing us to pay attention what rigorous scientific tests about human behavior have been trying to tell us, but we have chosen to ignore. So contrary to our 20th century thinking, which was wrong and the 20th century ended 11 years ago, we now know that humans are social animals, and we display this on the internet. The internet is proof of this. It is in our nature. We are hardwired to belong. We like to be embedded in, and we thrive within complex social networks, which means essentially 2 things. One, it's that social media is the future of marketing. And it's too late, really, to decide whether your business is going to be social or not. Where there's people, there's conversations, whether you're taking part in the conversations or not. What's left to decide is whether you're going to have a strategy for social media or not, and what that strategy is going to be. So while this requires a new model of thinking, because it does turn companies inside out, and this is transformative, I believe there is something even more deeply transformative that we can learn from the internet and what we are doing on the internet, which is the second thing we can learn. Conversations are the foundation of cooperation. So what we are seeing on the internet, again, here in Greece and around the world, is people voluntarily forming natural hierarchies. Together, we are solving problems. We are helping each other. We're building upon the contributions of others as they build upon our contributions. We are essentially being open. We are also we're engaging or acting in selfless acts, not selfish, selfless acts. And we are doing this of our own free will. But in our Western societies, again, the 20th century thinking that has fallen on our heads has assumed that human behavior is and the human behavior on which we've built our political systems, our economic systems, legal, educational, all the systems within which we live, work, learn, are supposed to be happy and thrive, are built on the assumption that humans are selfish, who need carrots and sticks to be motivated and need hierarchical control. And this is just plain wrong. And I am not suggesting that we are not selfish. Of course we're selfish. But that's only part of the story of what drives human action. And we need to get the whole story straight about human behavior if we're to design systems that are going to foster and support cooperation to the greatest extent possible and unleash and not stifle our human potential. So in Greece, as everything falls apart and we need to build new systems, it's a golden opportunity for us to reconceive these systems, not by making better system of what was wrong, but coming up with a new version that has human beings and what it means to be human at the center of what we do. We need essentially to open our minds to what science and to what the internet are showing us about being human. And yes, self-interest and cooperation can coexist, as can profit and cooperation. And really, the way we view ourselves is pretty much going to determine what we're going to become. So this is really our one and only opportunity. And closing, as a true Twitter junkie, I just wanted to share this tweet with you because it really sums up beautifully what I am trying to say. So to our closed and limited past, I say, sorry, we're open. Thank you.